All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about a brand new AI model that's really changing how we should think about artificial intelligence. You see, we're taking this leap from basic chatbots to something, well, something much, much bigger. So, what exactly does it take for an AI to earn the title of a true problem solver? Let's get into it.
You know, this quote from the research paper itself really just nails it. The whole game is changing right before our eyes. This isn't just a small step, it's a huge evolution. We're moving away from AIs that just know a bunch of facts to AIs that can actually do things and figure things out on their own.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I know it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but for researchers, this is a very real, very specific goal. And it all boils down to a handful of core skills.
So the big dream here, the next major step, is to get beyond AI as just, a super intelligent Wikipedia. The real goal is to build systems that have something that looks a lot more like human thinking, the ability to handle all sorts of complex, messy, real-world jobs.
And the ambition is just massive. We're not talking about building an army of specialist AIs, where one does math and another writes emails. No, the holy grail here is to build one single, unified model that can do it all. A genuine master of all trades.
Okay, so how can you even tell if a model is a general problem solver? Well, researchers have zeroed in on 3 absolutely critical interconnected skills that an AI has to master. This is basically the blueprint. So let's break them down.
And that blueprint has a name, the ARC framework. It's super simple to remember. It stands for Agentic, Reasoning, and Coding. Just think of ARC as the 3 essential pillars that hold up this entire new generation of AI. It's the perfect shorthand for what makes these new models tick.
So first up is A, for agentic abilities. And honestly, this might be the biggest leap forward. This is all about giving the AI hands and feet in the digital world. It means it can use a web browser to look up today's news, it can fire up a calculator to double-check its math, or even execute a piece of code to get a job done. It's an active player, not just a passive box of information.
Next, we have R for reasoning. Now, this is not about just spitting back memorized facts. This is the raw ability to work through complicated, multi-step problems that need actual logic, kind of like a tough math proof or a scientific puzzle. It has to be able to think its way through a problem from start to finish.
And that brings us to the final pillar, C for coding. And this is a really tough practical test for any AI. We're not just talking about writing a simple little script. We're talking about understanding and producing complex software, diving into messy code bases to find and fix tricky bugs. You know, the stuff that professional software engineers do all day long.
So with that ARC framework fresh in our minds, agentic, reasoning, coding, let's meet the new kid on the block, a model that was designed from the ground up to be a master of all 3, GLM-4.5.
Okay, let's quickly peek under the hood. GLM-4.5 is a beast of a model for sure, but the 2 things that should really jump out at you are, 1, it's open source, which is a huge deal, and 2, it uses this really clever design called a mixture of experts, or MOE for short.
So, what on earth is a mixture of experts? Well, the best way to picture it is to imagine the AI has a whole team of specialist consultants in its brain. When you give it a problem, instead of the entire massive brain trying to solve it, the model is smart enough to say, hey, for this particular task, I only need my math expert and my language expert to chime in. It's an incredibly efficient way to get the power of a giant model without the slowdown. Okay, that all sounds great on paper, but talk is cheap, right? How does GLM 4.5 actually stack up against the competition? Well, the researchers put it through an absolute gauntlet of tests against all the top models you've heard of. Let's see the results.
So when you look at the total combined score across the entire ARC framework, GLM 4.5 is right up there with the heavyweights. It lands in a very, very solid 3rd place, nipping at the heels of huge models like Grok 4 and O3. For a new open source model, just being in this conversation is a massive achievement.
But remember that A in ARC, the agentic skills? That ability to actually use tools and do things? Well, when we zoom in and look only at that skill, the leaderboard starts to look a little different.
And this is where GLM 4.5 really starts to shine. On the tests that measure its ability to act like an agent, it actually jumps up to 2nd place, beating out incredibly powerful proprietary models like Claude Opus 4.
This is huge. It proves this thing isn't just a thinker, it's a doer. So we've established it's a star agent. But what about the other two pillars of that ARC framework? Let's take a look at its reasoning and coding skills to see if it's truly the full package.
Just look at this number for a second. 91%. That's its score on the AMY 24 benchmark, which is a notoriously brutal math reasoning competition. A score like that is, frankly, incredible. It shows this model has some serious horsepower when it comes to logic and math.
And what about coding? Well, the story is just as good. On some of the toughest real-world software engineering tests, it actually manages to beat well-known models like GPT-4.1. This shows it has a deep understanding of code, making it a truly top-tier coder.
Okay, so let's pull back for a second. The model is clearly a beast. It's a top-tier performer across agentic skills, reasoning, and coding. But what's the big picture here? Why should you care about this specific model?
The creators of the model really hit on a key frustration in the AI world. For a long time, we've had models that were amazing at reasoning or amazing at coding. And the few that were amazing at everything, well, they were kept under lock and key by big corporations. A powerful, open-source generalist was the one thing that was missing.
Until now.
This is why the release of GLM-4.5 and its smaller, more efficient sibling GLM-4.5 Air as open-source projects is such a game-changer. It puts elite, general problem-solving AI directly into the hands of researchers, startups, and developers all over the world. It completely tears down the walls, it democratizes access to this cutting-edge tech, and it's almost certainly going to speed up how fast we can use AI to tackle real-world problems. And that really just leaves us with this one final, incredibly exciting question. We are now stepping into a new era where this kind of immense AI power isn't just in the hands of a few, it's being shared with everyone. So as this access spreads, what challenges that we once thought were impossible will we finally be able to solve? Thanks for tuning in.